And we are now recording. So click the button and be here now. And I'm getting a text from someone who's giving me a reason why he can't be here. So Joshua, you can watch this recording, and you missed out, and now you can see why. So raise your hand if you're familiar with conscious language by a show of hands. And if you're not on video, keep your hands up so I can look around. If you don't have your video on, please turn on your video. And Rosa raised her hand without turning it on. So it looks to me, so what we were thinking was we would have some introductory stuff tonight, because we were thinking we were having some new people here. It looks like that isn't how it happened. So this just became a next level opportunity for all of us to create a body of data that is an invitation to learning about conscious language. What we've realized is the foundation of all of mastery principles. It's really, you got to be hooked up with the basics in conscious language. And the more consciously you speak, everyone, we're familiar with this, we know this. So what we devised is we're each going to share at least one vignette of shifting a word for us that made a difference for us or in someone's life that we facilitated. And then we're going to go through in our own natural way, sharing everyone here the domains of conscious language and just have a conversation and make it fun. Our outcome being, we have something that you can send to people that you say, look, you're doing crazy stuff with your words and you're messing stuff up. Listen to this. So that we're creating a tool that we can all use to spread the love. So is there anyone here who has a story that would like to kick this off? Robert Henderson Stevens. Okay.
All right. So who would guess? So I 3 years before I remembered my union with Helena, I was engaged, so was Helena, different people, obviously. And I had this decree, I am the perfect relationship now made manifest. And I said it driving all the way to Seattle, California, everywhere for 3 years, decreeing I am the perfect relationship now made manifest. 3 years later, not even close, not close. So I finally sat down and had my first personal language alignment facilitation. And I said, I am, and I got God in action. Okay, I didn't know about this, that, these, them, they, I didn't know about that. So I am the perfect relationship. And I had anything in me that knew what that meant. I was like, God, here I'm saying it for hours a day for 3 years. And so I went, all right, I just sat there. And then I finally went, oh, all right. I am my love life, my life of love. 12 days later, she asked me. So that's one. I had another one. So Helena and I, when we got married, we made an outcome map about creating our perfect home. And in the center of the trunk was create our perfect home, water view, all the stories and everything else. And we didn't find it at all. So we went back to our mind map and going, well, yeah, it's got this, it's got the water view, and it's got this, and then I saw create in the trunk. And I went, create, I'm a builder. I know how to build. No. We went have 24 hours, less than 24 hours later, we had our home, period. That's my story.
Well, that's kind of cool. Shifted a couple of words. I have one. I taught language of mastery 25 years ago. Bob had a language of mastery instructor training. I did the training. I got the books, and I paid. The model then was an instructor pays for the books that get used, because some respect for the materials, and it's the juice, right? That's where the stuff is boiled down into great books that I could utilize and teach, and that's what I did, and it worked really well. People loved it, and Bob had put a lot of thought into it, so it saved me a lot of time as an instructor. So I'm teaching this course, and I noticed in the beginning of the class that this couple came in and they walked in together with looking like they had just eaten a June bug unintentionally. They weren't looking super excited to be together. And he sat like in the back corner and she sat in the front corner, as far away as they could be. And I had a rule. I modeled a lot of what Bob did. Every 50 minutes, get up, move around, get some water, go tata. He used to call it go TT or tata, go do your business, and then come back and sit somewhere else. So that they would sit somewhere else. And every time they're like, I mean, there's magnets where you go and they stick together, and there's magnets where you go, whoa, whoa. They were the whoa, whoa. It's just no being together. And we got to the domain of, and I'm going to make this super conscious, domain of apathy. we were talking about we were going through that domain of and Bob, just I'm freewheeling here, domain of apathy. I
There's
don't
no
care.
domain of apathy. That's the scale of emotions.
The scale of emotion. So
Yeah.
they were saying I don't care.
I watched Cynthia. Cynthia's
so,
going, no. So anyway, the emotion.
So where's I don't care then? Because one of them was saying
I don't.
So one of them saying I don't care, and the other one saying it doesn't matter as it relates to their relationship. What came up for them was that they don't live together, or they don't sleep together. They haven't slept together for 11 years or some long period of time. And I said, "How do you feel about that?" And one of them, he said, one of them said I don't care, and the other one said it doesn't matter. And the whole room was just we didn't have the distinction of voting your victory, but we were voting their victory without knowing what we were doing, Bob. And so we're like, whoa, that isn't true. You're married. There's no way you don't care. I care. And I just met you. So we just sat there present with him. And I just said, is that really true? You don't care that your wife of 11 years that gave you, these two beautiful kids, you haven't been in the same room for 11 years. You like these magnets that are polar opposites. You don't sit next to each other. Is that really true? And I got this automatic deep breath, and so did he. And he goes, no. And I said, what is true? And he was just like, I love my wife. And next thing you know, it doesn't matter. I love my husband. Long story short, they identifying, I don't know, and I don't care. This couple went, they're like making out in the middle of my class. They're, one leg over the other, like, oh, baby. We're like, you need to get a room here. And they changed a couple of simple words. So who's next? Oh, no.
Alyssa has her hand up.
Oh, she did? Okay,
Yep.
Alyssa. And then
thanks, Elman.
Go ahead.
Hi. So I have been underemployed since graduating college in 2008, December, the height of the recession. It's good times, best time to graduate from college. And so I have done a lot of freelancing. But first I was doing like temp work. And so I would be like, people would be like, what do you do? And I'm like, I temp. And a couple of years ago, I was like, I'm a freelancer. Like I get to choose where I work. So like giving myself back the power of saying that I'm a freelancer instead of I get temp work that appears, that instead I seek out work and then that's what I do. So more active and less passive, and just like that sort of change was really helpful just in my own personal how I felt about myself. And another smaller one is
before you give the other smaller one, let's go on that one. What I heard you do is called a reframe. You're viewing something one way, you frame it another way. And let's look at what I can kind of feel you're still dancing in it. So I'm gonna give you some words to consider and play with. I'm a freelancer and a free agent. I can engage with any company to provide my valuable services if I find they're worthy as a client. Is that a good reframe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got dad laughing on that one. That's awesome.
So I give myself permission to only engage with clients who love me. How about that one?
Mm-hmm.
I deserve my free time. I design my own schedule, and my fees are going up. Get me while you can. There's a reframe. I love you. I loved you since you were 3 feet tall. Who's next? Oh no, you said you had one other little
one more. Yep.
First of all, there's no little change, because every increment of transformation in our animation, I'm transforming activation. I was going to say as we activate, and Robert, we love playing with words and learning. Animation, we're animating new elements of ourselves. So it's not little when we make a shift. Every minute shift, it's our expansion is expanding, and every chunk of not us that's removed, we're more us. I'll say it that way. So please.
Yes. So I'm 37 now. I know, just to make you feel old.
Oh, God.
And we all experienced COVID, and that was real rough. And so my gray hair was like, this is a perfect time to just like come out more in full force. And I was wearing my hair up because it was COVID and who cares, and it's hot and I don't want, all of this on my neck, whatever. And my mom goes, oh, that's your gray hair. And I was like, shut up. Like, I'm sorry, I have gray hair. Look at you. So I was like, yeah, what is that about? That the term gray hair just bums me out. And so I changed it to sparkle hair. It's my sparkle hair because it literally like sparkles in the light, because the difference between my dark hair and the white hair is very stark. And then shortly thereafter, I was at a market, and there were people that were literally putting in sparkle hair. It's like pieces of silk that like sparkle. And I was like, oh, it's just to add to my natural sparkle hair. And so I've done that 3 or 4 times, and I'm not bummed about my gray hair anymore. Just like, yeah, it's my sparkle hair.
You're not bummed about your gray hair, or you love your gray hair?
I'm not loving yet. I'm getting there.
Do you choose to love your gray hair? I love your gray hair.
Look,
I
if you
love
got
it,
hair,
man.
love it. That's what I got to say.
I definitely love my hair. Yes.
Good
For
job.
me, Alyssa, I grow my own highlights.
Oh, check you out. Oh man, how many? Note to self. How many of you are growing your own highlights? That's so cool.
Yes.
That's so good. You got to hear about Adam. For those of you who haven't heard about it, what if? So most of you here likely also know conscious language is hooked up in our body, and everywhere in our body, there are clues that when we bring forth conscious language, as we identify what's going on with us physiologically, the clues can bring forth another elevation of our own consciousness or awareness of who we are, and the more expansive us we're always becoming. So Adam has a story about how the thumbnail on his right thumb with conscious language and a body language translation turned into the resolution of his relationship with his father, where there was great animus between them. So Adam, are you here and ready? Please, let's hear it,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Thank you.
And I choose to, some of y'all have heard this, those that have, forgive me. And it's a great story, my great story. I choose to share that. How many of y'all have ever had an impossible situation in your life, or that there was no way in hell you would ever forgive a certain whatever relationship or something that your parents had done to you? Or anyway, that was me. I hated my father, absolutely hated him from a very young age, and just had a lot of animosity built up. And so I get hired and go on tour with Bob. And 30 minutes out of the gate, we barely crossed the border into South Carolina from North Carolina. I'm thumbing through our body language book. I come to the page where it has fingernail descriptions, white, you got a zinc deficiency, da 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 da. And then it came to the picture of ridges. And I looked down at my thumb. And I'm like, oh, that's exactly like mine. This whole thing is talking about me. So I look over to Bob and I said, hey, what do these mean? He kind of looks at me. Well, it seemed like 10 minutes before he even responded, just asked me if I was really ready or I was really choosing to know. I say yes. And we began a facilitation. And mind you, y'all, I had been to 15 years of counselors, therapists, energy workers, you name it, I did it to resolve my anger. And it affected my life in every single way. And I was choosing to resolve it. Like,
And Adam, can I put input? Adam
Yes,
had
sir.
only done a 3-hour class with me before.
Yep.
So it's like, he has 3 hours of intro, and Adam is so gentle and so shy and so not. Go ahead.
So Bob begins to facilitate me about the ridges in my thumb. And one, forgiveness is required. I had yet to forgive. I kept blaming, giving all my power away. I required claiming my own power, and it starts with me forgiving. And that's one of the things that my father was asking for, which I ended up discovering down the road. And forgiveness is required. So we did that step. And I was able to realize and put, just to give you some hindsight, I was able to put me in my dad's shoes, like literally, and meant like, oh my God, like, I get it, Dad. I get it. I forgive you. I understand. Like, it's not what he wanted to do. It's just, so anyway, I hadn't spoken to my dad in 12, 13, 14 years. Been in a couple physical fist fights with him as a young adult when I was in my early 20s. And I'm at my daughter's high school play, and I have no idea my father's there. So intermission happens. I'm walking to the bathroom. My dad's coming out. We just cross paths and make eye contact. Both started crying. We hug each other. I love you, son. I'm proud of you. Just, I mean, like, what the fuck just happened? And forgive my language, but what? Really? Like 40 years of my life, and with Bob's support and our tools and a facilitation of body language translation, and as Scott says, we found language patterns that were inside of my ridges, replacing those, and then having my dad just show up, and we've had a great relationship ever since for a decade now, and he's the greatest grandpa on the planet. You know, me and my brothers joke that, hey, I wish we would have had this when we were kids, and I'm so grateful that he gets to do that, and he loves it. So that's one example of our tools, and I mean, holy cow, there's no way that that was possible, and yet it happened.
So Cynthia, hook up more detail about the thumb for people who are watching this video for the first time. Can you explain why Bob would have looked at it or talked to the ridges and thumb, and how is that Dad?
And I believe that Bob talked to Adam and not to Adam's thumb, and it's okay. And just before I start, Adam, did you grow your own highlights, or did you buy those? Okay, so let's go back to, so thumbs are will. This is what's going on. This is will. So right side of the body is male figure. Doesn't have to be a male, can be a male figure. Right, left side of the body is female figure. So can right side of the body be a female? Yes, if she wore the pants in the family, it's okay. That's why we say a male figure or a female figure. So as Bob translated, going through will, right side, my right thumb, male figure, and when we facilitate, we ask questions. Bob didn't tell Adam anything. He just asked him a couple of questions to explore what's going on inside of Adam. And I'm going to go a step further. Did Adam create what was going on with his dad? Yes, inside him. It's his own story. It's what he's told himself. And the moment he flipped the quarter over, changed the pattern, we're not getting better and better and better and better and better. We're flipping the pattern immediately. And the moment he changed it, everything in his world and his perception changed. Yes, Adam?
Yeah. Great summation of the whole thing. Yes.
Very wow, Cynthia. I mean, who could have said it better? And the key for me is you said his whole world. How far apart did Dad live from you at that time, brother?
Dude, we were miles, like 7-8 miles apart.
7-8 miles, and there was no, hey, I just forgave you, and so we're good now. It was all
Bob and I had 6 weeks of tour before we had our intermission, and so this was a play during our intermission coming back home. So like we were just busy doing us. And everything that I've come to understand, and you all have the potential or opportunity to understand too, we don't have to communicate this to anyone. You can, and that's walking in faith. I walked in faith that like, okay, already done, the way I felt, my posture, my physiology, my mindset. So it happens. And we have tons and tons of scripture that back all this up as well.
Give an example.
Yes.
I walk by faith, not by sight.
Yes.
Life and death is in the power of the tongue. So I changed my tongue.
Yes.
Whatever you do,
my heart's top priority. That was so important for me.
Say it again.
And I want to add whatever you. I'll go and then you go. The system, by the way, thyroid, is teeth, parathyroid, teeth, and fingernails, which is authority, authorship. So he was reclaiming his authority, and that's what fingernails are. And whatever we give to ourselves, whatever you've done unto the least of these, which is our own feeling world, God says, you've done unto me, which is all life everywhere. So whatever we give ourselves is instantly translated to everyone, period.
Yes.
Mm.
And
And
then
he did that
Rick.
going, hey man, check my thumb out. What's this mean? Oh, really?
Is there a scripture or the oh yeah, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and it's right action, right useness. That was my top priority in my life. That was so important for me. It was excruciatingly painful that I did not have a relationship with my father, and he's missing out on my daughter, his granddaughter's life because of my hatred. So it's amazing.
And now he's super grandpa.
Yeah, dude. Yep.
Anything to punctuate that, Cynthia, before Rick?
Dr. Rick's got his hand up. Go ahead.
So two things. One, it's very clear to me, I have yet to hear any process that occurred where you were judging yourself for your history, Adam. You made your shift and found your heart. And
Correct.
for anatomy, the thyroid and parathyroid are here, which is where our voice box is. It's where our vocal cords are. And our action of our authorship, speaking our heart's truth, is a dynamic animation of our heart, of our throat chakra, our thyroid, parathyroid, all the neurology. The thyroid gland is connected with, it is connected with so many hundreds of different processes in the body. And that's where the thyroid and parathyroid, the function that shows up as ridges in the nails, that's the relationship. Has to do with calcium and metabolism in and out of cells. There's a whole lot of the science of it. And yet the fundamental truth is more important and more valuable. Because Adam shared about how he feels now and how he felt, and the shift and change in his feeling world is what is activating and animating each of us when we do.
Yes.
Period.
Wow.
Yes. Awesome,
Wow.
dude.
I love
live
it
my
when I love it
God-authored
when he
life.
goes doctor on us.
Yes.
Go ahead, Cynthia.
I live my God-authored life.
Mm,
Yes.
mm.
And Adam, I'm sure, was planning on going, I'm going to fix my dad, so I'm going to talk about this fingernail. No.
I had given up, honestly. I mean, years prior to that, like, screw it, dude. It's never going to happen. I've done what I can. I've reached out to him, apologized, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, it wasn't going to happen, but it did.
And here you are. Yeah, I had a recent experience with forgiveness I may share a little bit later. I want to hear from some other. I'm excited to hear from some other people though. David Daigle, I had asked him to. David Daigle's been in our world a while. He's a leader. He was just at our most recent event, and I love David. I love you, man. And so I reached out to him and said, "Dude, bring your one of your language stories of a word that you shifted and something new happened, and tell us about one of your word turns into miracle when you shift a word." So, David, what you got, man?
So I have a couple, of course. So I had in my past nightmares every time I slept on my back because a bully, when I was 7 years old, got in my face and said, "You're going to have nightmares every time you sleep on your back." So even when I would accidentally lay on my back and I would wake up from these crazy nightmares, that was like, how is this even in your head? So I start to learn about mastery systems. I'm 42 years old, so a couple of years ago. And I wake up from a nightmare and I realize I'm on my back, and I go, this is what I said internally, you always have nightmares on your back. And I went, oh my gosh, it's my belief in it. And I've been decreeing this. I said instantly, I choose to have wonderful dreams when I sleep on my back. Ever since then, I'm grace and ease sleeping on my back. So this really shifted my thinking, right? So my daughter, who was about 8 years old at the time, had been grinding her teeth at night for 2 years. And I'm talking so loud that I could hear her from my bedroom. And talk about I felt like a helpless parent, taking her to the dentist, and the dentist is telling me, it's fine, no big deal. And I'm like, you got to hear this kid. She ain't gonna have any teeth left. And so as fate would have it, we had a bunch of people staying in our house, so she was sleeping in our bed due to lack of room. And 3 a.m., I hear her just going at it. And so I just recently had the epiphany with my choosing to sleep on my back peacefully and easily. I wake her up at 3 a.m. like, hey, she's half asleep. Like, what, Dad? I said, say this out loud. I choose to sleep peacefully and easily. And I had her say it 10 times. She goes back to sleep, does not grind her teeth one time throughout the whole night. Instantly shifted. Night 2, she's sleeping with us again. She starts grinding her teeth about 3 a.m. I wake her up, same thing, 10 times. I choose to sleep peacefully and easily. Stops grinding her teeth. Third night, it's now a preemptive ritual with our prayers. We choose to sleep peacefully and easily, and has completely stopped grinding her teeth. So I went from a helpless parent to a fully empowered parent.
You might consider adding, and my jaw is relaxed. A lot of, did some biofeedback years ago, and a lot of times we have a tendency, humans can store a lot of stress and tension from their day there, and it's still sort of where that's how the stress is working its way out, grinding. And Bob probably has 10x on that. Go ahead.
Yes.
Parasites, 3 o'clock, they get active. Parasitic type thoughts.
Thank
So,
you.
Yeah, I know. I was waiting, going, I got to raise my hand on this. So besides all the tension and all that, that's parasitic type thoughts, plus and minus type thoughts going on. But still, if we have parasitic type thoughts that bug us, that's going to be physical parasites. And so a vermifuge, like we use thought freedom, could be any type of vermifuge, black walnut, artemisia, or wormwood, same thing. That's usually what it is. But again, the word is senior, and your decree and prayer resolve that. How many worms came out in your sheets as she was sleeping there?
I choose to know.
Just kidding.
Did you say sheets or did you say, okay, just checking.
Sheets?
Sheets.
So,
Sheets. Okay.
Bob, something magical happened on the way home from North Carolina. I choose to share if that's okay. So we hear about voting victory over and over and over again. And I was fading out a little bit after lunch in the class, kind of getting tired. I think Scott was the one actually triggered that conversation. And Bob said, just vote victory. It will bring you back to the present moment. Well, for some reason, I got laser focused on voting victory and using the violet flame. And for this day, my imagination was imagining stacks of cash around each and every one of us in the class. So stacks of cash, violet flame. And I think this is where Bob's genius came in. He asked for us to share. And I go up and share this story of how I'm feeling really good. Like waves of joy and enthusiasm are coming over me. He picks up on it. He says, multiply that feeling by 10. So the whole class multiplies by 10. And he says, multiply by 1,000. Now multiply it by 144,000. And he said, notice how it's easier to multiply this good feeling by 144,000 because that's who you truly are. We're not times 10. We're holding back at times 10. So I am on cloud 9. I'm floating around. On the way, when Scott was taking me to the airport, I had this thought, I choose a wonderful interaction on my way home at the airport. And I get there and I'm kind of forcing conversation and no one's biting. Well, this is Sunday night, 11 p.m. in Atlanta. I was wanting to go to sleep on the plane because I had to work Monday morning at the fire department. And so I got my head up against the wall and this guy sits down next to me. He's holding a rum and Coke in his hand and he's about 6'3", big guy. He sits down, he goes, you're going to hate this effing flight, because he sees me trying to sleep. And I'm like, oh, here we go. I get to talk to a drunk person on the plane all night. Well, first thing he does is starts bragging about how stupid rich he is. And I was like, well, if you're so stupid rich, why are you on this plane sitting next to me at 12 o'clock at night? And then he said, well, my pilot on my private jet got sick, so I had to book this flight at the last minute. Well, of course, this turns into showing pictures of our kids. And he asked me about what I do, which leads to body language. So he asked for a demonstration. 30 seconds later, he is bawling with his head on my shoulder because he had low right back pain. I said, do you have a challenge with a male figure with a lack of support? He instantly starts crying, tells me his dad died 2 years prior. Kind of a big deal, but I've heard Bob go through this so many times. I said, now that your dad's in God's heart, What's he saying to you? He replies instantly, no hesitation, love yourself, son. And so he gets angry instantly. He's like, I hate you. I'm going to punch you in the face. I was not ready to let my dad go. I also learned this from Bob. Meet people where they're at. So I was a dick right back to him. I was like, hey, man, first off, you're a grown man. I can't make you do anything. Second off, what are you holding on to? He relaxes. And I said, I know you love me. When you say you hate me, you say you really love me. How do you feel right now? Notice how light you feel. And he's like, I do feel better. And I said, how's your back? It's gone. His back pain had been there for years, since his dad died. And so we exchanged numbers. And once again, by the end of the flight, he's bawling. This guy's 6'3", and he's got his head on my shoulder, holding my hand, bawling on this plane. Everybody in the front of the plane is looking at this guy like, what is going on? And what was funny is Bob shared a story about this in the class about being on a plane. And so anyway, we meet for dinner the Tuesday after we get back, and he's now my most lucrative client. And so, yeah, that was a voting victory, laser focused on what that victory is, or what my victory is, and that is financial abundance for all of us. So I am on a rocket ship, and I'm glad y'all are coming with me.
Awesome, man.
Amen, dude. And get with me, whatever you're charging him, I'm going to show you how to double it. He's that hedge funds guy we talked about. You told me the story. So, so let's add some services to him and ramp it up. And I'm your total victory for that, dude.
Yes.
And this is the beauty of an in-person event. Yes, we can do these things on Zoom. Yes, we can do these things together, and all my in-person events are ramped up big time. Imagine being in a room with everyone voting your victory and imagining piles of cash around you. Times 10, times 1,000, times 144,000. This is an in-person event. Yes, I've done both, and I always choose my in-person events. Period. For now. I reserve the right to extend.
Is, I'm a firefighter. I stick to a budget, so I'm mindful of my spending. I decided to buy first class tickets because actually Scott got me fired up that we can take this thing to a whole new level. And I said, I choose to be calm, centered, balanced, and poised when I get there. So I'm buying first class tickets with confidence. And I picked that seat. And here we go. This guy comes and sits next to me.
You also asked for it before you got on the plane and got answered.
You asked, believing you received, you claimed it, you spoke it into existence with power and authority and feeling. You said, I was feeling cloud nine. So you're emanating a much higher frequency of vibration, of love, of light, of manifestation. You were buoyant in grace, which with words spoken through buoyancy and grace and love and light, it happens much more rapidly. So that's like borderline instant manifestation. And the interconnectedness. Did you pick that flight before you left Texas, or did you pick it from North Carolina? And when did you pick that seat?
I picked that seat 3 weeks prior.
Biblically, where's my Elman? So Elman is our scripture. He's our Bible. He's like 200 times he's listened to the Bible and read 22 different translations or some wild thing. So Elman, please unmute. There's a verse that says, I go out before you, I pave the way for you. And we've experienced that when we decree, when we pray something into our upcoming future, safe travels, great vacation, whatever it is, a good result of a job interview. When we do it consciously, we're sending out, for me, it's Christ before me to do my bidding. So Elman, what's that scripture, brother?
So I choose to remember it's not in my current consciousness.
Well done. Well
got
said.
it. Well said.
Very
That's the
nice.
first time it's happened, and so for the pretty much he's been like Mr. Instant Recall. So and so there is a scripture that says that. So
And I have a piece on the. So we went upscale in that class, and when David was passing out, it's because we had gone from some level of unconsciousness, apathy, grief, fear, anger, pain, enthusiasm, and a whole nother octave of unconsciousness. And if David had resisted that, he would have gone down scale. Only when you started voting victory, you entered a quantum leap upscale. And by voting victory and voting everyone's victory, that tithe returned to you multifold. I'll leave it at that. So do you all get the scale of emotions is the deal to be aware of? And you did it.
He also used his tools on the airplane, which I'm going to go back and revisit for just a second. He knew immediately what spine was. He knew right side, left side. David, I'll ask you this question. Do you know what every tooth is in your mouth? What they all stand for?
No,
No. Do you know what every vertebrae is in the spine?
no. I know the
No,
ones
and
that
it's
I've
not
had.
required. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I mean, in my own experience, I've had back pain, and I'll go right to that vertebrae. And I know the third and fourth one is about issues about love and procreation or lack of support in creation, issues in the bedroom.
What, for putting your clothes
Awesome.
away? Is that
Thank
it?
you. And is it important that we know what every vertebrae is? No. Every
No.
tooth, every fingernail, every ridge, whatever. No, that's what our book is all about. Knowing some basics and being able to move forward in basics and knowing how to ask a question. It's super simple. Ask a question, let it be okay, vote victory, and transform it into where it's going. Scale of emotional harmonics. One of my favorite is enthusiasm. And you get right at the top, a top octave. Everything's great. God in me, entheos. Yes. Enthusiasm. And where are we going to? Unconsciousness. Hello. Who am I? And where am I? And what's next? Just a
Except that you don't even just notice it. If you don't resist it, it doesn't own you.
Yes.
Yo, tired. I love you just the way you are.
Yes. Yes.
Beautiful.
And also the shoulder thing. Yes. And getting your shoulder wet. Everybody be prepared when you fly from here on out. And you said it in the beginning. I just wanted to rest. I just know if you heard your word want, but you even decreed wanting to, which means not gonna. And then of course you had your miracle happen. So congrats. I mean, really, really, David, you have picked this up so fast and so profound and so effectively. I honor you. Amazing.
Thank you.
Yes, me too,
When
brother.
you said we remember we're not learning it, that's what happened in the first 5 minutes of the first conversation of someone. It was Brian picking out my language, and I was like, oh my goodness. Yes, I'm all in.
And it's all in us. We're remembering it. That's immaculate.
Could you restate that again, David, a little louder about the difference between learning and remembering?
When Brian picked out a few words I was saying, I instantly remembered instead of learned any. I didn't learn anything, I remembered. And I've studied it ever since. I've been on a mission to find out what makes me happy and share that with people. And once I found this is my focus, because it works every single time. I've never seen it not work.
You've never seen what not work specifically? Language?
Body language and conscious language.
Conscious language and body language. Got it.
Yeah. And when you put that together, and a big piece of the puzzle for me was what's new and different for you. Huge piece of the puzzle. So my formula, how I've molded this for me, is the body language signal, the conscious language upgrade, and then what's your new choice? And that's getting crystal clear on what's new and different, because this is giving your subconscious destination and program. And how you get there is none of our business.
Mm-hmm.
How awesome is that?
Beautiful. So because we're creating a video for people to share on conscious language, we've heard some verbiage that we shifted. I mean, if you change a word and a thought, and your thumbnail can have you loving your father, it's kind of a good thing. And yet we're going to go quickly through the domains of unconscious language and look at some of the upgrades of some of these language patterns real quick. And I'll name the the language and I'll throw out some of the patterns, and anyone who has something to say about it, just jump in. You're all activated. So the first, there's 10 domains of unconscious or sabotaging language. The first one is called the domain of limitation and no choice. And there are actually words that limit our ability to create what we desire in our lives, or that actually remove choice. I want, desire without having. I can't. If you desire something, you say you can't. Is it a really good idea? How about I can? I choose to. I give myself permission to. It's too hard. I don't know. I'm coming up with a blank. I run into a wall. I've seen someone say, I just running into a wall in this, and literally run into a wall since I became aware of what words do.
I have one on that one real quick.
Go ahead.
A friend of mine moved from Pennsylvania to Atlanta, a woman, and she kept saying, I keep running into people from Pennsylvania. I keep running. And then pretty soon she ran into a Pennsylvania car with her car. Not a good idea. By our words, we shall be justified, and by our words, we shall be condemned. So how many like the idea? Speak only what you choose. Go ahead.
And wasn't it you, Bob, who said you had someone who kept on saying, I just don't understand. I can't understand. And he stepped off of a curb and broke his leg. I don't understand. I can't stand under.
I don't understand. I can't so clear because I'm careful. But his wife was leaving him. He's walking away from the family meeting, and he was stepping off a curb. Cancel, cancel, cancel. I'm just repeating it, not creating it. And he said, I just don't understand. Cancel. I just don't understand. I'm saying cancel. I just don't understand why my wife is leaving me. He steps off the curb, left, feminine side, breaks his left leg. He could not stand under himself with the decree he gave.
By your words, you shall be justified, and by your words, you shall be condemned. So you can either have righteousness happen from what you say, or you can have something other than. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. You can speak life, or you can speak life. We're about speaking life and helping you identify ways that you're other than speaking life. Some of the other limitation and no choice ones. Thanks for just jumping right in like that, Robert.
Hang on, Scott, 1 second.
Good.
Two things.
Just jump
Karen,
in. Don't wait. Just jump in and make this conversation good. Go.
Karen Benson, did you have your hand up, hun? Earlier? No? Okay. She was just, I just saw this going by and just checking once we start on domains. Couple of
Just
things
having
about
a moment. No,
And
Yes,
we're on a
just
couple of screens here, so
a clearing moment.
we're
Yes.
supposed to have someone watching the other screen. Maybe we are, maybe we're not. So if you have something to say, unmute and jump in the
or just
conversation.
raise your hand. You click the raise your hand button. It'll bring you to the screen. So
It'll bring
And
it up.
point of
Where I'll see.
reference before
Yeah.
you move on, Scott, the story that is just told about the guy stepping off the curb is in the Conscious Language book, and as are all of these domains fully explained in Bob's Conscious Language book. So if that's a book you have yet to add to your library, you can do that on our website.
Yeah, do yourself a favor. There's 10 domains. I haven't even gone through the first domain in ways that we were programmed to use words to limit ourselves. Marcy Laughlin.
Thank you. Yeah, I just have a question about the using conscious language. Do you just wait to a moment where you are receptive, or like if you're, because I'm been in a bad state the last couple of days and haven't felt it that accessible, and then I wonder if I try to use the conscious language, then it's just like going to be an allopathic use. So do you wait?
I can help you. I can help you with all that. I can help you. So Marcy, just say it feels. Say it feels.
It feels.
Now say I feel.
I feel.
Really stay with me. It feels.
It feels.
I feel.
I feel.
Any difference?
I feel feels more intimate.
Good. Feels more. So the whole idea in languaging is to get our decree to work, we must feel the meaning, and our me self is involved in the word meaning. We must feel the meaning in each word deeply enough, which is doable for every one of us. So if I say I choose my abundant life and it's bouncing, it's not going to happen. But if I stay with it and keep speaking my choice until I feel my meaning deeply enough, the moment I do, the shift happens. So I recommend you just say what you choose until you get it.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
and-
so like for example, start with I choose
So
abundance,
what
and
don't
then
you
it
have?
becomes
Wait a minute,
I
I'm gonna
am
help you.
abundant.
Wait, I'm gonna interrupt just because I believe I can make it easy. So what do you choose right now that you don't have?
Try everything.
Nope, that's too big. That's not true. You wouldn't want everything. That would be a lot of garbage.
It's also
Okay.
that's in the domain of absolutes and grandiosities, which keeps you from having your heart's desire, and that's one of the other domains. Go ahead, Bob.
It's always based on grief. Go ahead, dear. What do you choose that you don't have?
I choose to have support in my life.
Say it again.
I choose to have support in my life.
Say it again.
I choose.
I know. Vote her victory, kids. Say it again, honey.
I choose to have support in my life.
We're in 3 times in, and emotion is happening because it's starting to land in you. Now say, I choose to feel supported in my life.
I choose to feel supported in my
Now, if
life.
anybody watched a little shimmy of her shoulder, that means she's been carrying burdens from mom and dad. Yes or no, dear?
Yes.
You know, make sure you got to I wait for your voice. Yes.
Yeah.
So say it again. I choose to feel supported in my life.
I choose to feel supported in my life.
And I forgive my mom and dad.
And I forgive my mom and dad.
And it's not about them, but it's important. You now say, I choose my own life.
I choose my own life.
I choose my own supported life.
I choose my own supported life.
And if anybody watched her head going like that, that's like her subconscious going, that's it, that's the one. So what's it like now that you have your fully supported life for you?
I feels more fun.
More fun or
Less heavy.
no, but less and more, vague, not wrong. So I choose what?
I choose joy.
My joy. Here's what you said. I choose joy. Head said no. Now say I choose my joy.
I choose my
Victory. With permission, everyone vote victory. We can help each other so much. I choose my joy.
I choose my joy.
Now say I recommit to my joy.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. The sorrow is coming out.
Breathe,
Sorry
honey.
is joy is returning. Yes? Just say I touch and I stay, dear. Say I touch and I stay.
I touch and I stay.
Say it again.
I touch and I stay.
Yep. You say, yo, sorrow.
Yo, sorrow.
I love you.
I love you.
I touch and I stay.
I touch and I stay.
And what's happening inside of you?
I feel so much sorrow.
Right. But now just love it. And the minute love touches sorrow and it resolves, what returns for you?
Breathe.
Hope.
Yeah, hope. Yep. Enjoy. How about I enjoy feeling supported?
I enjoy feeling supported.
And your head said no a little bit, but how many of us have been terrified of crying in public? Honestly, that's what happened at the fall from grace. So if everyone will just go, no, I love myself, whether I cry in public or not. And the scriptural statement, not religion, it says, thou shalt put no false gods before me. So me too, still to this day, if I go to a movie, I'm the only one there, and there's a robot running the projector, and all of a sudden a beautiful thing happens and I have tears, I still dry my tears off and put them on my beard, which is what my beard's for, is drying tears. So I still have this awareness that somebody might be freaking laughing at me. It's a freaking robot. Nobody else is in the room. That happened to every person at the fall from grace. So when we come back, shame, blame, embarrassment is going to come up. If I go, I'm going to serve embarrassment instead of my love, I'm not worth my salt. So do you get, my dear? Oh, I love what I feel. Say it.
I love what I feel.
I touch and I stay.
I touch and I stay.
I empower myself to feel fully supported.
I empower myself to feel fully supported.
And did you just take that breath or did your spirit breathe you?
And my spirit breathes me.
That's a home run, dear, right there. Yes?
Yes.
Now say, honey, I'm home. Yes, sir. I mean, you get your landing home. Yes.
Honey,
Does that help you a little bit on how this works? So hopefully I vote victory, kid. So it's a done deal.
thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for your
I see
courage.
some joy on her face too when she came, honey, I'm home.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you.
Thank
Great job,
you for raising
Marcy.
your hand and changing a couple of words and asking. So there's a distinction there, Marcy. You asked for assistance. Is it okay to ask for assistance or understanding of something new, or even next level understanding of something we have a certain level of grasp of? Yes, we're in this together. So
Hey, David, did you have something else to add, brother?
Thank you.
Who's this?
Muted.
David, you're muted still. Thanks
Yes.
for catching that, Adam.
All right. So, very intimate, and inspired me to share something intimate with you.
one more
something
thing
that-
before you say it, though. One more thing before you say it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot to say that earlier. I didn't want to interrupt Bob when he said, "How do you feel when you say I?" What was it? It was it feels, I feel. How does I feel? She said more intimate. Intimacy is into me. I see. So thank you, David, and please continue.
Yeah. And I think this relates to her original question of when and how and when do we use this. So Monday, I'm working at the fire department. We get a call for a car wreck at 11:30 at night on Monday. As we're pulling up on the scene, the guy it was a single car, single person. The guy gets out of his car, pulls out a gun, and shoots himself in the head as we're pulling up. And I'm the first one up to him. I didn't know that's what happened. The fire truck's loud, so you can't hear a gunshot. I just saw the guy go to the ground. So I'm walking up and I hear the breathing of someone dying. Like it's a very distinct sound. And so I'm like, oh, we got to get this guy, start working on him right away. And then I hear a loudspeaker from a cop car saying, get out of the scene, get out of the scene. There's been a gunshot. So I walk away, the cops clear the scene. So then we go back and the guy did a really poor job of shooting himself. So all of his body functions were still working, but he left, if that makes sense. So he has a giant, I'm just going to tell you the real deal here. I'm going to give you me, all of me. I love with all my heart. He's got a hole in this side of his head, and this side of his head's wide open. There's brains on the ground, but his body is still functioning. Normal pulse, normal blood pressure, normal breath, not normal breath, but enough to sustain his body. And in this day and age, we can't just let someone perish, even though that may have been the most humane thing to do. So it's one thing to see someone who's done this and all you have to do is look at it and you walk away. It's a whole nother energetic field when you got to put your hands on someone that's in this condition. And I personally had to piece his head back together. And I'm getting emotional now talking about it.
Good in your victory, David.
Thank you. I got so angry that I had to do this. And then all my coworkers, I got one guy who's 1 month on the job and here you go, man, head first. Let's go. Get your hands dirty. So we have to work. We worked this guy for 45 minutes doing every known intervention that you can do. And it was futile. He was never going to come back from that. So lack of sleep, dealing with that. I'm on my way home the next morning and I am level 10 angry. Like, is this job even worth it? Like, what amount of money is it worth to put your hands, like putting someone's head back together? It's just crazy. And I pull in my driveway and I'm like, I can't go in my house. I'm going to go off. Man, whew. I will go off on someone because I know my coworkers are going home and drinking. That's how they deal with it. I am so grateful that I have this tool and yoga. So I pulled back out of my driveway, went to the yoga studio and did the hardest yoga class known to man. And I felt better. Now, then I I could feel a hand on the back of my neck and the bottom of my skull squeezing. And I know from body language, this is anger. Accurately, this is anger. So throughout the day, I'm loving my anger into my forgiveness. I love my anger into my forgiveness. I love my anger into my forgiveness until I started to feel ease in my body. And Bob told a story while we were in class about the Matrix, how when he defeated the arch nemesis, the agent, he ran right to it and jumped into it and stretched and blew him up. So this image of this guy's head, me holding it, getting his fluids on my hand, is just popping up in my head all day long, unprovoked, just. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to sit here with it. And I pulled that image up and I went right to it, right into it. And I expanded my love into it. Then I worked out again. I felt really good, almost normal again. Got a good night's sleep, a good meal in my belly. And this was Wednesday morning. I felt great. And the funny thing is I had a whole day of clients lined up and every single one of them canceled on me. So that was a blessing in disguise that I got to take care of myself. So I know my coworkers are taking a different path with alcohol or avoidance through their phones or whatever distraction. And for me to just go right to this thing and acknowledge it and touch and stay and love and breathe and feel, I am here talking to you with full confidence that I'm ready to go back to work. Where 2 days ago, I hated this profession. So yeah, that's what happened this week.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Beautiful, David. And step one, and step one, and step one, and step one. Make it okay. I love, I touch, I stay. I touch and I stay. I touch and I stay. I touch and I stay. Step one for as long as it takes. Great job.
Yes. And did Ruben, did you ever hand up, Ruben?
Hola, everybody. What's up, Bob? What's up, Scott? Dr. Rick. All right, I'm going to share something really cool because I've been using conscious language with my clients and the people that I care about with some really extraordinary results. I'm the go-to guy in El Paso, Texas. And Bob, you facilitated some heart medicine for my friend AJ on the last session. Was really good. And so the affirmation that really landed and worked for me was my love supplies me and my love funds me. And just being up until right now in a very difficult financial hardship and even wondering, like, how am I going to, I choose to know how I'm going to support my kids. And anyways, listen, when I was making this declaration, my love funds, my love supplies me, the intention was to go to North Carolina and have a session. And the way this worked out, my love funds me, my love supplies me, was just not having at that specific time the financial means for some healing equipment and technology that I use for people. There's no way I was going to be able to afford this. And so I just really allowed the words that were coming off of my mouth to mean. I was feeling the me in each word deeply. And the very next day, an individual who's really big into the Nikola Tesla healing and also Christ-centered, it's a very good combination to have, understanding frequency and vibration, how cells operate, but also having Yeshua, the King of Kings, the Yod He Vav He, be part of it. It's awesome. So I had an individual fund me, supply me with a $1,200 unit, which has been so helpful in keeping my vibes high and also helping me to show up in a useful and meaningful way for other people. So that declaration, well, I do believe it was it was first, I say yes to me, and believing that one, that allowed my love to supply me and my love to fund me immediately. So that's my
I'm
testimony.
using that one,
Yes.
Ruben. That's amazing, man. I'm using that one for sure.
I love
I
it.
agree.
And I heard you say there was no way it was going to happen. And you said that with some and yet all that can be there when you make a new aligned choice. I say yes to me, my love supplies me. I say yes to me, my love supplies me. Say it till we mean it, and boom.
And then my love wins. I love one of my favorites. My love wins. And if for me, my little self can get in there. So my God love wins. Always like if I'm going to hit a home run, when I first learned decreeing, I would have I am degrees. I'd go, I am that I am the great opulence of God. My little I am was too small. So I'd have to say every time, I am that I am the great opulence of God in my hands and use right now and continuously. Ruben, keep it coming, brother. Awesome.
Absolutely fantastic. And I love that, Ruben, how didn't matter.
Yeah.
Once we decree, we don't have to figure out the how, it just happens. God has ways we don't know yet. So,
And
I
we
had a
won't know.
similar
Absolutely,
experience.
I agree.
Yeah.
How does it matter when you get your victory, does it?
What I say is I'm kind of glad now that I don't know how, because my level of how is so small compared to how God's going to do it. I go, it's going to be interesting to see how you do it. Thank you, God.
That's right. Also, something that's been super helpful for me, I learned this from Brian, and I give myself permission. The teaching behind that, I think, also helped to allow me to have an understanding that when you say, I give myself permission, it automatically links up subconscious and unconscious mind and eliminates that ego. So I really feel like I give myself permission and I choose to. Those are super, super powerful in terms of bringing the future into the here, now, and present.
Yes, sir.
Did you say you have an understanding or an inner
Understanding
standing?
is what
Yes, yes,
You did
both.
say understanding.
Of course.
Thank you, brother. First
Yes.
time for me on. And
How many of you are going ding, 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 new word? New word.
Ooh, baby.
Understanding.
I do interviews and people go, interviews? No, interviews. We're going to go in our, anyway.
Ruben, I'll also, I'm reminding myself how powerful our decrees are. And I'm also reminding myself how quickly instant manifestation is. When would now be a good time for you to be radiantly affluent? When would now be a good time for divine opulence to find its way to you gracefully and easily? So I say yes to your total prosperity and victory. I say you are fully funded in God's grace, and I'm excited knowing you're in our conversation very soon to reveal to you ways that you can generate some cash flow easily by sharing more people, sharing conscious language, imagination activation, sharing mastery with other people. So thank you, brother.
Yes.
Deborah's
Sharing my
hand was
heart
up.
wheel.
Deborah, good. I love it. I love you. Where is she? So when someone actually does that thing where you raise your hand, it brings you right up and we can all see, or I can see you, or anyone who's
we'll find you.
host can see you. So Deborah, Bob saw your hand.
You're muted right now. There you go, Deborah. You got it.
I really don't want to share, but that this really helped me a lot. I realized the other day about abundance that I had fear. So when I got your books, it was like overwhelming to me because there's so much in there, So it's been several months and I've watched several of your podcasts. And it just seems like I always feel like I'm speaking abundance. I'm doing everything that I think I'm supposed to be doing, but then I felt like I was blocked. And so
can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Deborah, are you open to a new revelation or a new transformation into alignment with who you truly are right now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so say it feels like.
It feels like
And so do you see how what you're doing is externalizing your feeling? Does it feel? So it's kind of what Bob did with our other sister earlier. So say those words and feel to the best of your ability the essence of the words you're saying. So say this, it feels.
It feels.
And now say I feel.
I feel.
And say it feels.
It feels.
Now say I feel.
I feel.
Now say I feel a couple of times and feel what you're actually feeling when you say it. Whatever, and vote. We're all voting your victory. Everyone here is voting your total victory. You're already victorious, and we love you. So it's good for us to hook up our feelings by distinguishing. We were itting our feelings. Are you an it or an I? You're an I. So say I feel.
I've got an ad. I feel like I feel, or it feels means I'm a separate from my feelings. And like means it's the three, I feel like, or it feels like are the three words of codependence. So have you put your value based on other people's opinion of you?
In the past.
So now the reversal is just say me love me.
Me love me. And I got that from the last Ruben.
Good, say it again. Me love me.
Me love me.
Mean it.
Me love me.
Oh, good job. Say it again.
Me love me.
Now, what is it you don't love about yourself?
Well, let me just tell you what I'm feeling right now. I'm feeling like my heart's going to jump out of my chest.
I'm feeling like, not wrong, no. So now I feel what about your heart jumping out?
I feel my heart beating fast.
Good. Say yo heart.
Yo heart.
I touch and I stay.
I touch and I stay.
Now say I love with all my heart.
I love with all my heart.
Say it again.
I love with all my heart.
Say it again.
I love with all my heart.
Say it again.
I love with all my heart.
Say it again.
I love with all my heart.
Say it again.
I love with all my heart.
I love myself with all my heart.
I love myself with all my heart.
And I forgive my world.
And I forgive my world.
For no reason.
No reason.
How you doing now?
Good.
Good. Love is the only thing that makes us magnetic to good.
Well, what I was doing when I realized about the fear that I was having about finances, because I'm a retired pastor, but I'm still working, and it's just from month to month and trying to help my son out and everything. And I realized when I realized the fear that I was having, that I wasn't going to make enough, I wasn't going to have enough to help him and myself because I'm older. Then I said, okay, that's my block. It's the fear. So then I was saying, okay, fear. And I went to the book and I said, I touch, I breathe, I love. And then I started saying, I love my fear. And so that was what was bringing me to even share with you. But I mean, I'm all in for this. This is amazing stuff.
Question
and
for you.
by the way, you do not look old enough to have to retire.
Well, thank you.
Not anyone? How many are going what? Maybe
Yep.
I agree.
35?
You're beautiful.
I'll
Gorgeous.
be 70 this year.
What?
And thank you for your courage.
I was a United Methodist pastor, so I was like, gee, this is like, I've always wanted to be a motivator. I've always wanted to be a teacher. I love public speaking, but I was petrified to even speak tonight because I love.
Now say instead of I've always wanted to be.
Yeah.
I
Now
am.
say I love inspiring my world.
I love inspiring my world.
Say it again.
I love inspiring my world.
Say it again.
I love inspiring my world.
And one of the laws is whatever our weakness is, our greatest weakness should be our greatest strength. So are you here to ignite opulence, divine opulence on our planet?
Yes.
Good. So all you have to do is love.
Fear for me, I always go back to scripture on something as powerful as fear, especially if it's a gripping type, not a passing fad type of fear, but something that's deep. Is God doesn't give me a spirit of fear, but of strength and of hope and a sound mind. If it doesn't come from God, I choose to align myself with my best relationship with God of my understanding and be guided by the holiness within my relationship with my God. And so when I identify fear at that that doesn't come from God. And so my question is, what does God have in store for me? God, what are you bringing forth now? So, it's just how another possible way to look at it. And Bob, so I would say another conversation worth having here is what fear turns into, and maybe a few words that she can say that will really anchor this in. What Robert has learned and our distinctions have shown is that every emotion is actually becoming something beautiful we choose to have in our lives. So Robert, would you take it from there?
Oh, yes. And the scripture, it says, perfect love casteth out, I believe, transforms all fear. So if I have a ball like that big, that's my fear. It's the contraction of all there. That's a continuum. God is in everything. So if I have fear and I touch it with love, my love, just touch it with love, it will blossom into my courage, faith, security, assuredness, confidence, and courage. That's just what it'll turn into. So if fear's up, it's most likely your courage waiting for that thing called permission. I give myself permission to have courage. And the word permission is as per my mission. And if we get present, I'm giving you some wording stuff right now, and I love them. The word present means pre-sent. I learned that by the word resentment means resent. The only thing that can be fully present is our creator already landed before you have asked, I have answered. So now do you get, Deborah, the fear was coming up for you to go through the metamorphosis of the massive courage your creator in you is delivering through you by love alone.
Yes. Yes.
I also recommend you add, I'm eternal youth and beauty, because you already got that one hooked up. I am eternal youth and beauty.
I am eternal youth and beauty.
Are you getting older?
No.
Age is just a number.
Yeah, thank you. Well done. Well said. So no, I'm youthing, and I will share with everyone, it's one of my cautions. Truly, so we just did a class in Florida. My attorney down there, 60 some. When I got done, when I got done with him, when he got done with my facilitation, it was all him to him. He looked freaky young. So I recommend everyone as you youth, I recommend you just stay post-pubescent for obvious reasons.
So, Deborah, I love you. Thank you. Thank you. May's had her hand up for a while. May, thank you for your patience.
Where's May?
So, May we hear from you now?
Got you. Go ahead out there. Go ahead, dear.
Oh, this is all good. I'm being fed by all the testimonies. And I choose to share what happened today. So today was my moral quote in the past, moral injury ceremony. And it's the testimony of speaking out what was my military experience as a female soldier. We spoke out, I wrote my letter, did not shed a tear through that letter. And I choose to work more effectively in the moving forward. But I'll clean this up. I work better under pressure. Otherwise I overthink it. And so I just threw everything in there the night before, put it together. This is done. And cancel clear. As I'm reading, I put community, my world. I felt safe, I felt secure. 15 minutes before that, my little fear showed up and started panic mode. And I started to feel in my throat, I started to feel my belly. I went to the bathroom, found the mirror, and I started to use the I love, I breathe, I stay, I love, I breathe, I stay, I love, I breathe, I stay, until I could get myself to I am and I can. And then I remember, no, God is in me. God can. I can. My God in me can. My God desires for me to speak on something that I've been carrying for 20 years that someone else may need to hear so that we can finally have our freedom together. And I said, I'm doing this. And so when I came out, a third person showed up. So now there was 3 of us. There was only going to be 2 of us. Third person at last minute decided to come. I said, great. There was 3 people that were prepared to receive their freedom. As I'm reading, I'm like, whoa, was this me who wrote this? This sounds very different from me. But I said, okay, as I kept reading it, when my emotions came up, I remembered that all for me class where Bob said, speak through the emotions, declare through the emotions. Don't let yourself get stuck in there. And I said, I breathed into the mic and I said, I love a breathe day. I love a breathe day. I love a breathe day. My husband got up and he's like, what is going on with me? And I'm like, okay, God can, I can. I said, okay, we can do this. We went right through it. And then at that part, I said, now I cancel clear. It is in the past. I move forward. Right from there, everything else was consciousness. Right there from there, I spoke to my world. Right from there, I asked them to co-empower with us, create this program, expand it, and open it up to people who are yet remembering how to support veterans, are remembering their own words, right? Are using tools, are open-minded and expanding. There are different ways than just the religious way. There has to be something else than the medical way. There just has to be a partnership of, can we just sit together? Can I hear your story? Sometimes most of them just want to be seen and heard.
Can you, to give a little context, can you explain what you do for veterans? Like what was the momentous, help us understand the momentousness of what happened today.
So, so with my group, so I'm a volunteer with the Wounded Warrior Project. So
Got
with
it.
Group, we have monthly meetings to bring them out, just bring them out of the home so they can come and speak with others. And if there's something they have a need, we connect them to the Wounded Warrior resource to connect them to someone in their community that can support that need. Because of my husband's health issues, and now with all the programs that are coming up, I chose to step into another leadership role that now just creates events for them. Now I can create a fun event where I still get to hang out with them, but it gets to be fun and easy. And I can smile instead of creating all this work of forcing them to come out and forcing them to to confess something like, I require help. This way I get to play with them. The walls come down and I get to hear and I get to vote their victory. And I say, God, there's something there. You let it come out. There's something there. Let them voice it. Let them voice it, the highest choice where they want to. What is it they want to do in their well? And I'll find the connection. You will bring those things to me. And things have changed. My husband said before, when we go coming home, they're like the two female ministers, when you were up there crying, they kept pointing at you. And then when it was time for hand washing, they selected you to pour the water for the minister's hands. And I'm like, I didn't see it. He goes, you were too busy crying. I said, and it's okay. And I said, okay. He said, so what are you going to do? I said, at this time, I said, my highest agreement, I said, is to work through Bob's programs. I said, my highest agreement is to complete Bob's program. I said, because this is the thing that they require. I said, and this is the thing that I can bring. I said, the other things are great. I said, but this is the thing that I've seen is more powerful and works instantly. I said, and it keeps me in my God-centered place.
I'm so excited having your partnership in our unified victory, bringing conscious language and all our other tools to our wounded warriors.
Yes.
Wow. Thank you for clarifying that.
Me as well. Thank you, dear. That's awesome.
I'm super excited. We've already been an hour and 20 minutes, and out of respect for everyone's time, we got through most of one domain. We touched on a few others. There's a lot of data here, and it's fun remembering. We do have an event coming up, and for those of you who are new to our world and came in later, we have an event June 23, 24, 25. You can attend it virtually, or you can attend it in person in Hendersonville, North Carolina, and it's called I Am All New. And I would say
and the link's in the chat, by the way. Cynthia just dropped her for
the
y'all.
link is in the chat. Thank you for remembering. Great work. And Bob, you are all new in how you taught our most recent class, a transformational experience, and where every single one of us realized a level of alignment in our holiness. For me was brand new. So what is what is I am all new? In fact, you wrote our outcomes for I am all new. Off the top of your head, what is I am all new?
So top of
I
my
knew
head.
that was coming.
Hold on, I got to get a mirror so I can read. It's kind of shiny, but anyway.
I walked right into that one.
Really, thank you. All right, so I've been at this for my adult life, and I've built a huge amount. And so this last All For Me, which All For You is the name of the class that we started with. And for me, I will pour you out of scripture. I will pour you out a blessing greater than you can contain, pressed down and overflowing. The old self dies as the new self is born. In my word made flesh, there's this thing called the short throw, feeling better, boring. There's a long throw, which is always being signaled in body language. If we translate it, the blessing is for full resurrection of that person, full restoration beyond anything they've ever known. And so in this particular class, as I started to share, and this is Scott's first time in being in class, live class, in 20 some years, et cetera. So I'm going through step by step, and I realized, the only thing that's important is whatever moves the needle, whatever creates a change, which is the basics of play 125, be fully and completely present. I love, I touch. That's what's way new is I love, I touch, I breathe, I stay, I feel, which brings us like from those 5 states back into our temple of the most high living God in real time, that kind of stuff. So I built the class metamorphed into, and Cynthia says that Bob would go off track. She was zooming in on it. He'd go off a little, come right back, go off a little bit, come right back. When we did the deep dive into my word made flesh, I'd start to build step 1, which take the charge off, and then step 2, 3, 4, back to step 1, and then 2, 3, 4, back to step 1, which take the charge off. I love, I touch, I breathe, I stay, I feel. So this particular class coming up in June, and something I recommend we have in every community consistently, is I am all new. Not I'm going to get all new. It's I am all new. And ever since we did the class, the result for me, our team can share, is I'm doing everything all new. I sit down and go, well, what's new? And it's not like a process. It's not like a facilitation. What it's like is I literally, by being all new for 2.5 days, I am all new. And somebody, I think it was Stacy, sent some type of a prophetics, not something I'm particularly involved with, but it was all about God is given light in such a way that there's nothing of the old that's going to make it through or is even being supported anymore. How many realize I am all new is what's here right now? How many realize I'm going to have a little red wagon going, well, I've got to take this stuff with me, even though I don't like it, I've got to take it with me. No, you don't. How many love the idea of I'm doing everything new? I am all new. So this particular class is very subtle and not very sparky. It's
just to elaborate and piggyback, Bob, you've heard throughout this event tonight, this meeting, of how simple and profound and strong and powerful going back to the basics are to have transformations. You've heard miracle after miracle tonight, which we also experienced many in this class. Well, expectations are the thief of all joy. No, I made that up. But when we have expectations, or we stay inside our box and who we are because we get comfortable because I'm good enough, I got enough tools, I'm, pretty cool. No, that's not what we're here for. We're here to ever expand and keep evolving until we are Christed, literally Christed, just like our brother. And so what Bob did, and he's done it before, but it woke me up to how complacent I've been. I've just been kind of wish-washy in some areas of my life, and it requires me to be brand new and make choices in every second of my life to have my miracles and my outcomes. Period.
Amen. My question to anyone who has an impetus to be with us in Zoom or in person, first of all, if you already have the feeling to join us, then just do it. And everyone that shared with us tonight, Deborah, come see us. Where's our brother who's in El Paso? That guy gave
Yeah.
you get that guy that gave you that to give you a plane ticket, or just decree
Yeah,
first
just
class ticket.
magnetize it.
Just
Yep.
say it. Whoever, however it
Yeah.
happens. I'm excited to have folks who are called to join us. There's several new developments happening in Mastery Systems, each of which will be very new to we're demonstrating we're all new by rolling out two big news announcements are coming. I'm chomping at the bit. There's some stuff I'm like, little me's like, I want to tell them now.
No.
Get ready. Booyah, big stuff is coming.
And Cynthia was the first one to say, no, you're not.
Yeah.
Look at her.
Cynthia and Adam, they put harness.
I had to say no twice.
She did.
You just said no
did.
3 times now.
I'm sorry, Mom. Yes, Mama. And she's a mom of like 6 and grandmother of 38 or something. so
15.
And she sits on babies too, y'all. She sits on.
She's got lots of babies to babysit. So when she says no, it's like, okay, yes, ma'am. And big news is coming.
David's got a hand up. David, is that a hand up?
Real quick, David, if you got it before you do though.
No, it's not a hand up. Okay, got it.
I'll say this. If you are here tonight and you think you know who Mastery Systems is, that's the past. So you're living in the past in your brain or in your consciousness about who we are. And
You just muted.
You just muted yourself.
Can you hear us?
He just went into the past.
The universe wouldn't let him say you're going to the past. Everyone say Scott is now all new.
Scott is now all new.
Your battery went down or something, dude. So I'll keep going because there's only one of us here. So what I'll share with you is, and I love are you live? Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay,
go ahead.
good. So what was I saying? Right. If you think you know who Mastery Systems is, think again and feel really. Just notice the.
Well, can I interrupt? Every one of us is made new, not just Mastery Systems. How many love brand new thought forms? And Greg Braden did a thing called Awakening to 0 Point years ago, and that was basically that the yin yang or the plus minus or the whatever is over. And how many get, well, I'm made new. Well, let's blossom. And it must be according to our heart's highest choice. Yes. Anything less than our highest choice contains within it self-sabotage. And that our creator's calling us home into heaven on earth.
Yep.
How many love that? And that means my heart. Yes. My heart's top priority.
Amen. So I give myself permission to be all new every day. I'm more me today than I've ever been. I'm more me than when we started this Zoom meeting. Raise your hand if you got something out of the Zoom meeting that has you a better version of yourself than when you came here. Great. So I see 100%. Yes. So multiply that times our entire weekend and come be with us Zoom and there's only 50 spots in person too. To actually be with us in person.
I have one thing. When my team was at a particular point, I said, now they got a strength, they had a power of something. When I choose, remember David talked about it. And I said, now multiply it, I think times 1 and then times 10. And 10 was, oh, wow. And then I said by 1,000 and oh, that was actually easier and more powerful. Wow. And then I said by 144,000. Those that were there, was that easier to go 144,000 times stronger? Yes. So everyone just take that right now. Truly just walk around. I'm 144,000 times more blessed than when we started tonight.
Yes.
And for those of you who've already been to our classes, or those of you who have someone you know would like to, you can't make it, or that you're bringing a friend, we pay commissions on whoever refers. So we'll work that out. We're banging out a system where you benefit simply. We actually already have the system in place. I'm reviewing it to make sure it's in alignment with our new self. And we're happy to reward people for building our family. And we're going to make it fast, fun, and easy in a very systematic way. You're going to dig, baby. So.
And David had his hand up.
David has his hand up for real now. Go, David.
No, he said, never mind.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Oh, wait, here he comes. Oh, no, wait. Oh,
no.
Upgrade. I upgraded. I create miracles and blessings everywhere I go. I now am a miracle and blessing everywhere I go.
Yes.
And then everyone, you have to add this qualifier, which is scriptural. Mondo way whopping huge.
Mondo way whopping.
I'm a Mondo way whopping huge miracle everywhere I go. I believe that might not be scriptural. I'm not supposed to add any words to scripture. So I'm like, oops.
We have to check with Elman on that.
Yeah. Elman. Look at him. Oh man. All right, cool.
As we wrap this up, anyone have any last minute questions or comments? So God is our victory. May we finish our evening unified in grace. May everything happening in your life come to another level of fruition in harmony with your heart's desire. And thank you. Thank you for being here with us tonight. And we're going to be doing many more of these. We're actually creating a series of events that we can shrink down and edit to make to be useful for new people coming into these conversations. So as you see us doing that, and as you join us participating, we're very grateful. We love you. We consider everyone who joins us in these our family, so you know, brothers and sisters. And all my brothers and sisters, have a nice night. Someone had something.
Carolyn, I think, was waving goodbye. I thought she had her hand up and she was waving goodbye.
And let's take a moment and vote victory. Let's imagine angels from where each one of us are moving across the face of the earth, dissolving and consuming, purifying and replacing, raising and replacing all human creation into God's divine love, embodied, received forever. And imagine the blessing going out from every direction.
Yes.
And coming back around and kissing us on the cheek, confirming our world is blessed and raised.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you all.
Yes.
Amen.
Good night.
Yes.
See y'all.
Night. Bye.